Transferability is how easily a business transfers from the seller to the buyer. There's three big categories for that. One is operational transferability. Secondly, there's financial transferability. Third is sort of what I call kind of a relationship transferability. So going with operational transferability, that's sort of the day-to-day type operations that makes a business capable of being transferred to a buyer. So two components of that, or two big components of that. One is the organization. You're talking about the people. The buyer is going to come in, they're going to look at the business, and they're going to think, am I going to have to fill the shoes of different people within the organization, or do they have a general manager already in place, or a superintendent that's already looking after things? You got to think of it from the buyer standpoint, because they're buying the business, they don't have the history of the company, they may not even have the skill set of the company, so they're jumping into the shoes of the owner. And at the same time, they don't want to be filling the shoes of the rest of the organization as well. That's just way too much on their plate. So that organization sort of needs to be in place. And the more structure you have for that organization, the more transferable it is. Secondly, you call it SOPs, standard operating procedures. Are those procedures documented? Are they well documented? So basically, operational procedures, they could be, office kind of type procedures, accounting procedures, are all those in place. And the more of that you do have in place, the more transferable the company is. And third, of course, is there could be things like company culture, whether or not that's transferable as well to the new owner. Going to the financial piece, so financial transferability, that's when you're talking about sort of the documents and how well the accounting has been documented. So then you're talking about whether or not you could validate sort of the accounting, the P&L, profit and loss, your balance sheets, your cash flow statements. Can you validate that through, for example, tax return statements? Can you validate that through sort of the buyer is going to go in there and do a quality of earnings, likely? That's where they actually take samples of, it could be an invoice or something like that, to be able to match up, to make sure that those P&L, is true, right? And third is kind of what I call like a relationship transferability. And so those are kind of relationships with, let's say, your customers that the previous owner had, or relationships with their vendors. So as an example, they may have a high customer concentration, and that one customer could be their neighbor or could be a family member. So the new buyer is not going to have that relationship. So what happens if sort of the new buyer comes in, he or she doesn't have that relationship with the customer, and they drop out, and their revenue is cut in half. Same thing with vendors. They may have relationships with these vendors, they may be getting discounts, right? Is the new owner going to come in and sort of lose sort of those benefits? So that's what I call kind of relationship transferability. So those are sort of the three big categories that I would look at sort of as a buyer.